Quote, "A thoughtless expedition only fosters the might of one's foes." Meaning of the quote. This quote serves as a cautionary reminder. When we engage in actions, especially significant ones, without proper thought, awareness, or preparation, we may unintentionally strengthen the very forces we aim to oppose. Whether those foes are external adversaries, challenges, or our own internal limitations, a lack of foresight can create more damage than progress. Expedition implies a journey, often a bold or purposeful one. But if that journey is pursued carelessly, driven by impulse rather than wisdom, it not only risks failure, it actively empowers resistance. The consequences of such behavior are not neutral. They become fertile ground for opposition to grow stronger. Spiritual perspective. Spiritually, this quote reflects the importance of conscious intention and self-awareness. Every external act reflects an internal state. If a person launches into a challenge without clarity, humility, or mindfulness, the journey is fueled by ego, impatience, or fear. These qualities cloud judgment and block the quiet wisdom that arises when the mind is still and present. In this view, foes aren't just external enemies. They're inner forces like doubt, pride, anger, or ignorance. A hurried or unconscious action strengthens these forces, giving them more room to control your life. The expedition, when devoid of self-inquiry or inner stillness, becomes a journey into confusion rather than understanding. True spiritual growth comes not from the speed of action, but the purity of intention and the clarity of awareness. Mindless effort leads to entanglement. Mindful effort leads to liberation. Scientific perspective. From a scientific lens, particularly in psychology, cognitive science, and systems theory, the quote speaks to the importance of strategy, evidence-based decision-making, and awareness of unintended consequences. Cognitive bias. Acting without awareness often activates cognitive biases, confirmation bias, optimism bias, and the Dunning-Kruger effect. These biases distort our perception and lead to decisions based on illusion rather than fact, which can worsen our problems. Systems thinking. In complex systems, e.g. ecosystems, organizations, impulsive interventions can create feedback loops that make problems worse. For example, introducing a new species to fix an imbalance in nature without fully studying the system may cause ecological collapse. Competitive fields. In warfare, politics, or business, a hasty move can reveal weaknesses to competitors. A poorly planned campaign may not only fail, but provide intelligence and strategic advantage to the opponent. Thus, science underscores the need for deliberation, analysis, and preparedness, lest we become the architects of our own opposition. Let's bring this wisdom to life through a small story. Once in a kingdom burdened by drought, a prince decided to lead an expedition to find the River of Clouds, a mythical source said to bring rain wherever it flowed. Without consulting the elders, mapping the terrain, or understanding the seasonal winds, he gathered his bravest warriors and set out into the desert. The journey began with hope, but soon sandstorms buried their supplies. Rivers they had counted on were dry. Confused and desperate, the warriors quarreled. As days passed, the prince's poor planning became evident. He lost men, morale, and direction. Meanwhile, a rival chieftain observing from afar saw the prince's missteps. He used the failed expedition as a tale to rally support, strengthen his position, and sow doubt in the prince's reign. When the prince returned, alone and humbled, he found his kingdom weaker than before. Not because he lacked courage, but because he lacked clarity. His thoughtless expedition had fed the strength of his foe. How it applies to everyday life. This quote resonates deeply in our modern, fast-paced world, where speed is often mistaken for progress and decisiveness is confused with wisdom. It applies to many aspects of daily life. 1. Relationships. Reacting to conflict impulsively, without listening or understanding, can escalate tension and harm trust. A thoughtless word spoken in anger often becomes ammunition for future disputes, strengthening the emotional foe rather than resolving it. 2. Career and work. Jumping at every opportunity or making career moves based on ego or urgency can backfire. Without proper research or understanding, we might end up overwhelmed, exploited, or dissatisfied, giving power to burnout or failure. 3. Personal growth. Trying to fix yourself without understanding your deeper motivations often leads to cycles of self-judgment or disappointment. Spiritual or psychological shortcuts, e.g., quick fixes or surface-level affirmations, may suppress symptoms, but they allow root issues to grow stronger. 4. Social media and public speech. Posting opinions or reacting publicly without thought can damage reputations, relationships, and even careers. Once out in the world, these impulsive actions can be used by others to undermine your credibility or intentions. 5. Health and wellness. Trying drastic diets, intense workouts, or health trends without proper understanding can lead to injury or imbalance. A mindless approach to wellness, driven by trends or pressure, often makes long-term health harder to achieve. In essence, the quote reminds us that not every movement forward is progress. Thoughtful, conscious, and well-prepared action, grounded in clarity and humility, protects us from empowering the very forces we wish to overcome. It calls for slowness with purpose, action with awareness, and effort with understanding. Thank you for joining this exploration of wisdom. If this message resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe for more insights into timeless truths. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and every great idea begins with a strong foundation. See you in the next episode.